Let me start with something that's probably going to feel a little uncomfortable. You're standing in line at the grocery store. You glance at your phone. You sigh. Because you're already running behind. Not behind on money, behind on time. And then you do the thing. You grab the pre-cut fruit instead of the whole pineapple. You grab the pre-made meal instead of cooking tonight. You pay for delivery instead of driving. You upgrade to the faster option, the convenient option, the I'll deal with it later option. And none of it feels irresponsible. It feels necessary. But at the end of the month, you look at your bank account and think, why am I spending so much when I'm not even buying anything crazy? And the answer isn't inflation. It isn't bad budgeting. It isn't that you like nice things. It's that time quietly became more expensive than money. And nobody told you. My name is Jimmy, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, behavior, and the weird ways they mess with our brains. And if you're someone who makes decent money but somehow always feels rushed, overwhelmed, and slightly behind no matter how much you earn, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, because this one might mess with how you see everything. Here's the thing. Most people think the modern financial problem is that everything costs more. Rent is higher, groceries are higher, gas is higher, subscriptions multiplied like gremlins. And yes, that's all true. But here's what most people don't realize. The real inflation didn't hit prices first. It hit time. Time got scarce. Scarcity changes behavior, and behavior changes spending faster than any price increase ever could. Let me explain. 100 years ago, money was the bottleneck. Today, time is. In 1950, the average American household had one income earner, one car, fewer possessions, fewer choices. Life was harder in many ways, but slower. Fast forward to now. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average full-time worker spends over 8.5 hours a day on work-related activities when you include commuting. Add sleep, basic hygiene, errands, and household maintenance, and most people have about 3 to 4 discretionary hours per day. That's it. And those hours are fragmented, exhausted, and mentally depleted. Now here's where it gets interesting. When time becomes scarce, your brain assigns it a higher value than money. Psychologists call this time scarcity bias. When we feel like we don't have enough time, we subconsciously trade money to relieve that stress, even when it hurts us long term. This is why. You'll pay $18 for delivery to save 20 minutes. You'll upgrade flights for convenience even when it adds hundreds. You'll outsource cooking, cleaning, errands, thinking. Not because you're lazy, because your brain is panicking. Scarcity creates tunnel vision. And under scarcity, you stop optimizing for wealth. You optimize for relief. Now you might be thinking, okay, Jimmy, but isn't that just the cost of modern life? Sure, but here's the trap. The more money you make, the more expensive your time feels. And that's where people get wrecked. Let's do some simple math. Say you make $80,000 a year, roughly $40 an hour before taxes. Your brain starts doing this calculation without asking you. If this saves me an hour, that's basically $40. So paying $25 for delivery feels smart. Paying $60 to skip a line feels reasonable. Paying for convenience feels efficient. But here's what most people don't realize. You're not actually buying time. You're buying comfort. And comfort compounds expenses, not freedom. Because that hour you saved, you didn't use it to build wealth. You didn't use it to rest properly. You didn't use it to invest in skills or relationships. You used it to recover. And recovery isn't the same as progress. This is where it gets uncomfortable. Most modern spending isn't about desire. It's about depletion. Let me give you an example. A study published in the Journal of Consumer Research found that people experiencing time pressure were significantly more likely to choose expensive convenience options, even when cheaper alternatives were easily available. Not because they preferred them, because decision fatigue reduces self-control. Your brain, when tired, doesn't say, "What's optimal?" It says, "What ends this feeling fastest?" Now layer this on top of modern work. Emails never stop. Notifications never end. Your job follows you home in your pocket. So when evening hits, your willpower is gone. Cooking feels like work. Planning feels heavy. Thinking feels expensive. So money steps in. And slowly, quietly, your baseline cost of living rises. Not because you're upgrading your lifestyle, but because you're buying back fragments of energy. Here's the part nobody tells you. This creates a feedback loop. More spending leads to more work needed, leads to less time, leads to more spending. You're not stuck because you don't make enough. You're stuck because your life is optimized for urgency, not leverage. Now look, let's challenge a common assumption. People love to say, just earn more. But higher income doesn't solve time scarcity. It often makes it worse. Because as your income rises, expectations rise. Your job demands more availability. Your role requires more cognitive load. Your calendar fills up faster, and suddenly your time feels even more valuable, so you protect it with money. But protection isn't the same as ownership. This is where the real problem starts. Time is the only asset you cannot store. Money can sit. Stocks can compound. Skills can accumulate. Time disappears whether you spend it well or not. And when time feels scarce, you stop thinking in decades. You think in days. And wealth is built in decades. This is why people making $200,000 still feel broke. Their income is high. Their time autonomy is low. And autonomy, not income, is what creates peace. Let me show you something wild. According to a Harvard Business School study, people who spend money on time-saving purchases report significantly higher life satisfaction. But only up to a point. After that point, more convenience doesn't increase happiness. It increases dependency. You stop knowing how to cook. You stop tolerating inconvenience. You stop being resilient. And resilience is what keeps costs low over time. Now you might be thinking, so what? I'm supposed to do everything myself and burn out. No, that's not the point. The point is intentionality. Here's what most people get wrong. They spend money to save time, but never use the saved time intentionally. So time just leaks. Scroll, recover, numb out, repeat. The money's gone. The time's gone. And nothing meaningful changed. This is where psychology meets math. If you spend $15 a day on convenience, coffee, delivery, shortcuts, that's $450 a month, $5,400 a year. Invested at 7% over 30 years? That's over $500,000. $500,000. For what? Not freedom. Relief? Temporary relief. Now here's the twist. The solution isn't to stop valuing your time. It's to stop pricing it emotionally. Because right now, most people price time based on stress, not strategy. They ask, what makes today easier? Instead of, what makes my life simpler long term? There's a massive difference. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine your life is a leaky bucket. Every convenience purchase is tape over a hole. It works. For a bit. But the bucket is still broken. Wealth building is fixing the bucket. Lifestyle spending is just taping faster. This is why minimalism accidentally makes people wealthier. Not because owning less is magic, but because fewer decisions conserve mental energy. And mental energy is upstream of good financial decisions. Here's what most people don't realize. Time isn't expensive by default. Disorganized life is. When your systems are bad, everything costs more. Cooking costs more. Planning costs more. Thinking costs more. So money fills the gaps. This is why people with routines feel calmer. They're not disciplined. They're automated. Automation reduces decision load. Lower decision load reduces impulse spending. And impulse spending is where money leaks. Now let's get practical. The goal is not to maximize free time. It's to maximize controllable time. Huge difference. Free time gets eaten. Controllable time compounds. So here's the shift. Stop asking, how do I save time today? Start asking, how do I reduce future decisions? Batch your cooking. Standardize your meals. Create default outfits. Automate finances. Set boring routines. Boring is powerful. Boring creates bandwidth. Bandwidth creates leverage. Leverage creates wealth. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Most people aren't time poor. They're attention poor. Their time is fragmented into useless shards, and fragmented time feels worthless, so they trade money for convenience. But when you protect attention, time regains value. And when time regains value, you stop overspending to escape discomfort. This is why wealthy people look slow. They're not rushing. They're not reacting. They've designed lives with fewer emergencies. And emergencies are expensive. Let me say that again. Emergencies are expensive. Last-minute flights, rush fees, forgotten renewals, poor planning penalties. These aren't accidents. They're symptoms of overloaded systems. So here's the real reframe. Time didn't become more expensive than money. Unstructured time did, and money rushed in to compensate. Your job isn't to buy time back, it's to stop bleeding it out in the first place. When you do that, spending drops naturally, not through willpower, through clarity. And clarity feels like peace. So here's what I want you to remember. We don't live in a world where money buys happiness. We live in a world where control buys calm. And calm is what lets money grow. If your life constantly feels rushed, no amount of income will fix it. But if your life feels intentional, even modest income can feel abundant. Real wealth isn't having everything done for you. It's not needing everything done immediately. Slow down, design better systems, and let time stop being the thing you're always paying for. Because once you stop renting relief, you can finally start owning your life.